The art of burlesque is alive and well in the Pacific Northwest, but just when you think you've seen it all, you have not. They have a brand new burlesque event called What the Funk, an all-POC burlesque festival. Will hit Seattle later this summer. And here with the scoop is Mix Pucks Aplenty, founder, owner of Puckductions, looking quite amazing, and the always amazing Rebecca M. Davis, founder of the Stay Up Late Show. You two, I feel very underdressed right now.
Yes.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And that's made out of tulle?
It's made out of tulle, correct.
Oh, it's just lovely. All right, so burlesque, it has been around for, I don't know, what is it, the 1800s, since the 1800s, something like that?
Well, it might go back even further. I mean, if you go back to the Italian roots without being too nerdy about it.
Too Snoopy, yeah.
Yes, it's actually what it's about. But basically the idea of having a good time, kind of a variety show, poking fun of the mores and the morals and the politicians of the day.
Right, right.
Lots of mass and things. And then it evolved in America to be more about specifically women on stage, showing a little bit more than what they were supposed to at the time.
A bit more skin, right?
Yeah.
So in the last, I don't know, 25, 30 years, it seems to have a bit of a resurgence. But for anyone who doesn't understand exactly what it is it just nowadays, is it basically just kind of showing your bod? How would you describe it currently?
Burlesque right now, it's always political, even when it's fancy and over the top. It is to poke fun at, it is to satire, it's to make absurd.
Right.
And what I like to remind people, when you think about the women in the beautiful dresses and those beautiful gloves with all the rhinestones on it, the absurd part about that is when the glove hits the ground, it sounds like a brick hitting the ground because there's so many rhinestones on it. It's that decadence, right? Because that much decadence is absurd. So
it's also about celebrating who you are. I mean, you can be anybody you want to, especially in burlesque, and you can also do it with a lot more glitter and a lot more glam. It's like you, but more fabulous.
Right, just kind of let it rip.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of burlesque going on in Seattle, the Northwest, like Lily Verlaine or
Atomic Bombshells.
Kitten Lou.
Right, right. But there's never been a burlesque festival before. Is that correct?
True, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
There have been in other parts of the country.
There's lots of them. I think almost every state has a festival.
Almost.
Hawaii has one. Alaska has one called the Freezing Tassel Festival, which I think is very apt.
So, how did What the Funk come about? And I know it's your brainchild.
Yes. What the Funk started because I really wanted to do a classic burlesque act, and I wanted it to be to a funk song, and I was told that classic music is, the cutoff is like 1960.
For burlesque?
For burlesque. That is considered the
classic age.
Classic age, and that is the cutoff. And the song I wanted to do was Stevie Wonder's Superstitious. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great to have a show that was all funk music? And then I'm like, wouldn't it be great to have 2 nights of shows, all funk music and all people of color. And so that show was a 2-night show with a different cast each night. Our headliner for those 2 nights was Spice, a local Seattle performer. And I promised in the green room that I'm gonna bring it back as a festival. And so what started as a slightly drunken promise is now grown into a 50-person festival.
Event. So, and one thing you just mentioned, the festival is unique for a number of reasons, and one is that all the performers are people of color, for starters. Why is that important?
Representation matters, absolutely, and I'd say because I am a host, a burlesque host, as well as other things. But when I started, it was the norm for me to be the only person of color in the dressing room.
Right.
It was me. If you think of your Dita Von Teeses, like that was the archetype. That's what everybody was going through with a different
that's what I think of. That's mostly what I've seen here.
But the world of burlesque and the world in general is a lot more varied than that.
Yes, it is.
And so we've, especially in Seattle, I think we've really taken the bull by the horns to be like, this is a space that we are going to have, and we are actually going to show a variety of talented people, of a variety of hues and abilities and sizes and everything else.
Over 50 burlesque performers will be in the festival, so give me a few highlights of who we're going to see?
So
from around the country.
From around the
correct?
country, yes. Our headliners, we have Egypt Black Nile from California. She actually has the most titles of any burlesque performer in the history of burlesque.
Wow.
I believe she has over 100 titles. We have Trademark from Minneapolis, Minnesota coming. We have Foxy Tan, who is our opening night MC, as well as our guest of honor. We have Redbone from California via Minneapolis as well.
Is there anyone doing something that you've never seen before?
I am really excited to see what the Luminous Pariah is going to bring, because it's always something different.
The
Luminous Pariah.
The Luminous Pariah. That's a great name.
Yeah, he's actually here from Seattle. He's part of an all burlesque troupe called Mod Carousel.
When did the boy burlesque really start happening, do you think? Or has it always been the case?
I think it's always been there, and there's also an overlap between drag and burlesque as far as drag queens and drag kings are concerned, and the whole idea of being yourself but slightly bigger, or swapping your gender or whatever. But certainly it's become larger in Seattle in the last 5 or 6 years, because we have Mod Carousel, and we've also have individuals like Waxie Moon, fantastical Waxie Moon, and then Beau Briefs is starting some things. So that's another. It's a subsection, but it's also part of our greater movement to get more folks seen out of what is considered the norm.
3 days, 3 shows at 2 venues, and you mentioned the opening night gala is at Q Bar?
It's at Queer Bar.
Queer Bar, okay,
Queer Bar.
on Capitol Hill.
On Capitol Hill, yes.
So, and the
gala.
The host is
Foxy Tan.
So what's going to happen that night? It's kind of a big deal, VIP-ish.
So this is our big VIP night. It's going to be really great. Our guest performer for that night will be Redbone. Will be performing, and everyone featured in our opening night were people that were in the original What the Funk show when we started.
Last year.
Oh, cool. So they'll be opening out the night.
So it's kind of like the original cast in an interesting sort of way.
Yeah.
So the second 2 nights is at Columbia City Theater and hosted by the one and only Rebecca M. So what's going to happen? Any highlights from those 2 nights that we should know about?
Well, I mean, we're kind of keeping a lot of it under wraps because we want to be some surprises
One secret.
in there.
We will be crowning Grand Master Funk that night.
Grand Master Funk. So how does someone win that title? What do they have to do to become?
The criteria.
What's the criteria?
The criteria. It is all based off of their costuming, the way their overall presentation that they bring, and of course, the act itself. Currently, we have 2 judges. We'll be adding a 3rd soon, announcing that soon. But they will determine that winner, and it's amazing. A community member by the name of Rhode Island Red commissioned a sash and crown for our winner.
Beautiful.
So, and they're stunning. The winner will also receive a costume commission.
Nice.
And they will also receive, I believe, 100 gross of rhinestones from Savant Gems.
And there's gonna be classes?
Yes.
Too? And for what, all levels, beginners?
Yes, from all levels. So there'll be all levels of classes. The Academy of Burlesque, Miss Indigo's Academy of Burlesque, they are one of our sponsors, and they are allowing us to do classes at their school. And so all of our headliners and featured performers will be teaching. And I believe we have everything from how to become a good burlesque MC, all the way to how to twirl some tassels.
All right, well, What the Funk and All POC Burlesque Festival runs August 22, 3, and 4. More information, including how to get tickets, and you want to get it because they are going to be going fast. WhatTheFunkFest.com. Well, thank you so much. You are,
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. It's just wonderful. Bravo. Yay for burlesque.
Yes.